Hey Foxy Fighters, I'm your host FoxieMoose and welcome to the FoxieMoose Show, episode 6, where we learn together. Today's video we're going to be analyzing a character that's new to the fighting game scene. Yes, that's right, a newcomer. Can you guess who? I'll just tell you. It's Ruby Rose from RWBY. So, let's get started. Alright, so you can see here that we have some of Ruby's concept art from the series, not from the game, because that is very hard to find. But we're going to be using this to move forward along with some other images. So let's go ahead. Let's make sure everything is there. Okay. So just to fill everybody in, last week we did Ragna. The Blood Edge from Blaze Blue, and if you didn't get a chance to read that, that's going to be in the description below. So like I said, this week we're going to be analyzing Ruby Rose, so this is going to be really fun. This was really fun to work on actually, so really fun to actually figure this stuff out. So we're going to be breaking down the shape language, the size variation, silhouette and readability, relatability, and rest versus detail. Alright, here we go. So, shape language, this is the shape that communicates the character the best. So, if we pull up here, so here we have Ruby broken down into her most basic shapes from what I personally saw. You may see something different, but Ruby's shapes are mostly split into triangular shapes or asymmetrical shapes that display pointed ends. This tells us that she would be some kind of villain, which we know is not true, if you've seen the show, of course. So why does Ruby still appear somewhat soft and lovable? That would probably be thanks to the roundness of her eyes. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. The roundness of her, well, it'd probably be better over here. It's thanks to the roundness of her eyes, which is something that is primarily found in anime. Anime characters generally display the character's feeling and emotion, not with the shape of the body, but with the shape of the eyes. The eyes in anime go into so many different details, so many different variants, where actually if I were to sketch here, you know, you have shapes of a character's eye that can go up, like that would infer that the character's somewhat sad. Or you could have the character's eyes coming down, which would infer this character's more, what's the word? Not angry, but more intense. And then you have eyes where you can take this one and you can turn it upwards and have that straight line. That way you can create this kind of even more soft character. And basically, there's just so many different variations of eyes. You know, you have eyes where you can square off the eyes, so you get like this even more serious character. Or recently, I tried to combine the two. I combined the two and had that squared off eye with the somewhat round top, and gave it that square bottom, and you still get like this somewhat serious character, but has like a really nice side to them. And this is just the beginning of you know, anime eyes. But I can do that. If you guys want to see stuff like that and want me to go into a whole video on that, I'll be glad to do that for you guys. Just let me know in the comments below. But moving on, let's go ahead and get rid of those. Why is this like this? Let's go ahead and get rid of those. All right, zoom back out. So yeah, that's why she appears to be soft and lovable, because she has these very nice round eyes. She also has a round pin on her belt, but you know, that it just helps a bit. Every little bit counts. So now we move on to size variation, and this is the difference in sizes of the various shapes that add interest. So let's go ahead and turn this layer off. Whoops, not that one. Nah, to that one. This one. Let's turn that one on. Now, you know, I know what you're probably saying. But Moose, why is the red area so small? Well, you guys don't sound like that to me. You guys sound lovely. You guys sound lovely. You guys don't sound like that. The answer is actually two reasons. One is that, that's her scythe, and that's her scythe in non-combat mode, which is a lot bigger in the show. Like when it's in that form, it's almost it's humongous. And two, the scythe extends into a giant weapon, like a huge scythe. So because the weapon is so amazing and fascinating, I think it was a really good decision to have the weapon scaled back into the small, like, into the large suitcase size. This allows for the character to shine through when she isn't in combat, because we know, as it being a 3D anime, it's all about the character. So being able to actually put that scythe away, that intricate, that detailed scythe away, which you'll see in a little bit, being able to actually like put that away helps so much, and it helps you focus on the character when it's time for the character to come through, and you focus on the scythe when it's time for the action to happen. So now we're moving on to silhouette and readability. Let's turn this down. Here we actually bring in this image here. I really like this image. We bring in this image here just to get a different, a better silhouette. And the silhouette is the first read of a character at a first glance. So if we go ahead and put the silhouette on, based on RWBY silhouette, the first thing you might see is a Reaper of some kind of Grim Reaper. What gives off that vibe are her hooded cape and the scythe, which is, that's actually just a part of the Grim Reaper trope. It's a whole trope. So you have the hooded figure and you have the scythe. That comes across as like, death, or like I said, like Grim Reaper. Very, very Reaperish. With the silhouette, you also want to be able to tell what's happening with the character as clearly as possible, which is why I changed the image. So we can tell that a feminine character is holding a large scythe, which by far is the first thing that we would want to see. So let's look at the character as a whole. Let's look at the character as a whole. And I just wanted to say that, just to add to that, if that was a bit confusing, part of me feels that this silhouette is successful and part of me doesn't, just because the hood takes up so much of the space, and it really gives off the wrong impression. Like, yes, she may be a Grim Reaper, but she's not. So I don't know. I'm a bit conflicted with this, but in terms of, her getting the point across of what she is, it does amazing. But does it actually speak to who the character is? No, I don't think so. Everything is pointy. Like, again, this character is very pointy. Nothing feels soft. So I personally feel that this silhouette is not as successful as it could have been. But I think that's personally due to like the anime style. And I love anime style, but I think that's personally due to like the anime style. Now let's move on to, let's actually look at this again. Let's take that off. Now if we look at the character as a whole, she reads as a teenage Reaper that might be engaged in combat quite often. And the fact that she has on a dress also tells us that this character either has some fashion sense, or that she spends a lot of time in a formal setting. So we know that she's in a school. In that regard, yes, that the design looks great, but it just didn't fit the silhouette quite right. So moving on to relatability, and relatability are this is the similarities in a character that make them feel familiar to the audience, to the viewer. So we go ahead and where are we gonna pull this up? We can actually, I don't have the image. I don't have the image in here. We'll just use this one. But as we previously stated, RWBY appears much like a Reaper. That allows us to associate her with a fighting style and possible personality traits, which are very like aggressive and edgy. But she's not edgy at all. I personally don't think she's edgy. Now we move on to rest versus detail, and I'm trying to keep this under 10 minutes. I know we probably just hit the 10-minute mark, but I'm trying to keep this under 10 minutes for you guys, so we're gonna wrap up soon. And let me know if I like speak too fast or if you guys enjoying the content. I really hope you guys are enjoying the content. I'll have to slow down my words just a little bit. So let's move on to rest versus detail. Where is her? Where is she? Nope. Yep. Okay. So here we can see that RWBY has a pretty nice balance of rest to detail. We have these large shapes. We have these really large magenta shapes with these small areas of detail happening in specific locations. I personally feel like there should be a bit more detail, but what's there is more than enough. Again, this is for a show. You don't want to add too much to the design of the character because you're going to see it multiple times. It's not the same as if this were a 2D animation or a 2D animated show. I think it's a bit okay with 3D, but it also just helps to keep things simple. The big shape of the dress gets split by the detailed area of the belt, and my phone fell. My phone fell, and I hope it didn't break. The big shape of the dress gets split by the detailed areas of the belt and the corset, creating that nice balance. Basically meaning, like I said, you have this rest area here, the corset, or as you can see here, the corset and the belt, that breaks up the shape of the dress. So that's really nice to have, that we have that break in that big shape. We can also see that most of the detail is around the focal point of the design as well, which is the face. And that's it. That's it. Looks like we got through yet another CDA this week. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys. And I really want to keep getting this content out there for you guys. If you have any ideas for a video game character that you would like to see broken down and studied, please leave a comment below. For daily content updates on my art and all the other great content that I produce, check out Twitter, which is also in the link below. And if you enjoyed the video and would like to see more, be sure to give this a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell. If not, give it a thumbs down. I'm FoxieMoose. You guys take it easy.